Welcome everyone to Implant Minute. This is session 1, where in a minute's time we're going to try and bring you the latest tips and techniques related to implant dentistry. Our first session is going to be on implant stability. We're all pretty familiar with the D1 to D2 to D4 classifications of bone. Essentially, we're looking at various bone densities depending on if we're in the mandible or maxilla. Our goal with looking at the CT scan is to see if that bone's going to be firm and hard, like a D1, D2 type in the anterior mandible, or something that's softer, potentially like the maxilla, which is a D3 or D4. And that's going to change how we approach our osteotomy preparation for our implant. Why does that matter? Well, classically, we don't recommend to undersize in the mandible. So if you look at this example of looking at the mandible, D1, D2, it's a lot of very cortical bone, not a lot of cancellous component to it. Now, if you go and prepare your implant in the mandible, sometimes what can happen is that your implant gets stuck halfway. Now, some doctors may say, you know what, I'm going to drive my implant deeper in place and see if I can get it all the way down. But the implant can get stuck halfway, or you get your implant 3/4 of the way down and you find that you can't remove the implant. So our recommendation is that you prep to full osteotomy depth in the mandible when you see bone density such as shown here. You don't go and try and drive your implant further because you can break the components or damage the components that actually hold the implant in place, or have a hard time to remove the implant. So if your implant gets stuck, you should actually remove the implant at that point, re-prep to full osteotomy depth, perhaps even 1 to 2 millimeters subcrestal, accounting for anatomy, and then try your implant in again. At times as well, you may need to use the plus size drills or overexpand the top portion of that osteotomy, because remember, most implant designs nowadays are tapered. So go and re-prepare the area, and then you can place your implant in afterwards. In the maxilla, it's a little bit different because you can use the implant itself as an expander. The bone tends to be more of a cancellous D3, D4 type, and in that case, you can dance the implant in and out, take it in and out, and the actual implant itself can act as a bone expander. So if we look at a case like this, you can actually undersize at times and not go to full osteotomy preparation protocols in terms of diameter, and undersize and use the actual implant itself as an expander, and the implant going in and out, eventually will go to that achieved depth that you've prepped to. So I hope this tip has been helpful today, and I'll see you on the next Implant Minute.